Welcome to the new episode of The Genius. Every day as you exit your home and leave, you are opening the door for infinity numbers of scenarios. Some of them can change your life, that can eventually lead to your death. But before reaching the elevator or getting into the cab, I need to face the dog tied outside. But before you ask me if I'm afraid from dogs, let me tell you that story about Jacqueline Duran. She is an American girl who was an expert in dog sitting. A couple of days before Christmas, this lovely girl went to family's house to do her job, and they left the door open for her. After they left, everyone was reassured since she sat with the two dogs before. But when she entered the house, they attacked and mauled her. And you can imagine. You know how many bites? 800 bites. She lost 30% of her blood, and her heart stopped several times on the operation table. In short, she survived by the miracle. And this is what she looks like after the surgery. Saving the girl was stalled for 37 minutes. Not until the police arrived at the scene, until they managed to shoot the dogs and get her out. So one would tell me the dogs were from a violent breed. Actually, it's more complicated than this. I know this story freaked you out. And if you ask me, I want to understand what is the first man thinking when he domesticated dogs. Your question is reasonable. Imagine being in the forest next to a wolf. You play with its belly, scratch its head. Do you expect that he would a good boy? Is that a logical plan? But actually, what happened? Of course, the plan worked, which drives me crazy. It was a very random but an amazing work for tens of thousands of years. Dogs became the oldest animals ever domesticated by man in history. But man is also excused. Old age humans saw wolves as peers and rivals because they lived in herds like men and hunted in packs like them too. They didn't depend on fast running, but in walking for long distance. They surrounded the prey until it got tired and exhausted, and then they attacked it. They don't try to fight and overpower it like lions. Men and wolves' behaviors are similar in these aspects. Rivals and peers. Imagine getting one of these rivals after separating or kicked out of its pack. They live beside you and eat your food leftovers. What would you do? Kick it out or say it's a good boy? Actually, we said it's a good boy, which makes sense for a reason. Wolves were superior to humans when it came to smelling. They were 10,000 times better than men. They could smell prey over a mile away. So if a wolf came to you, it's to your benefit. Since then, thousands of centuries of domesticating wolves flew by, and the artificial selection results in hundreds of different dog species that lived to this day. Small, big, violent, playful, scary, and the cute ones. And actually, all dogs cute. When men and dogs sit together, they release oxytocin, the hormone of kindness that plays a role in getting milk for breastfeeding, the hormone that bonds a mother and her baby. Fun fact, my friend, dogs can recognize 150 words, and they can count to 5 and understand 1 + 1 = 2. I know you know that it's normal, but dogs have IQ of 2 years old. But the statistics say that they are still wolves. They didn't forget who they are. In the US, there are more than 4.5 million dogs bite per year, and dogs kill from 30 to 40,000 people around the world every year. And you remember Jacqueline? They are originally wolves. Wolves that can scare and hurt and kill, but also maybe not. The US 4.5 million bites, only 800,000 out of them need medical care of any kind. 81% of biting conditions don't result in injuries that require intense care. So yes, they do attack, but not as severe as wolf attack. So animals usually attack humans in 2 cases. Whether they see us as prey to eat, which is rare because we don't taste good. The famous example here is a polar bear, or they attack because they felt afraid in a certain situation. So they do what's called defensive attack, like the brown bear. So dogs revert back to wolves when they are scared. Dogs or animals' fear is different from ours. They don't fear time or their image in society. They don't fear abstract things. They fear actions. They see these actions as signs of danger. Our logic is different from the animals. Instincts control animals' behaviors because they don't have cerebral cortex or centers for thinking and judging. Instincts drive them. The instincts of survival, food, mating, and protection. Protection of a small puppy, its owner, and anyone else in its circle. Anything from the zone it knows. Simply, if the dog felt a live threat, it will attack and bite. If the dog was cornered, it will bite, and maybe he kills you. Dogs shouldn't feel threatened by humans or to be left taken away by fear. Even a passing jump scared the dog and would make him bite. This doesn't mean any scared dog will be aggressive. It means that every aggressive dog is usually scared, but it didn't just stop here. Have you ever seen a hippo pooping while spinning its tail fast like a fan? Spread the poop and smell. The hippo here tries to make a mark. It's a territory with its smell. All animals have the same behavior. There is a 50% chance for a dog to bite if you cross its territory. And this is the reason why most people subjected to attacks like delivery man. And let me talk you about vaccination. You know that dogs aren't the only animals that transmit rabies. And you have to know foxes, squirrels, and mice also transmit. Even cats can transmit, probably more than dogs in the USA, because there are few stray dogs there. And the cats are left freely wander more than dogs. Actually, the probability of someone dying if a dog bite is only 1 to 112,000, and that probability is double in case of bee or wasp stings. Since this is the US, the probability of someone dying to a gunshot is 1 to 7,000, more more than a dog in the US. When you are in the streets, you fear people, not dogs. But when it comes to stray dogs, it's different. Mind you that this dog cares for no one. It's exposed to famine, disease, and killing, not just by man, but also with other dogs that fight each other, whether it has rabies or not. For example, most of the deadly attacks of dogs related back to breeds like Pit Bull, Rottweiler, and German Shepherd. The German Shepherd looks a lot like a wolf. It may be smaller in the size, the jaw and the claws, not as strong as a grey wolf, but their genes are identical. Let me tell you that the Pit Bull's breed reputation is terrible, where 66 of dogs' deadly attacks are from that breed. They are the cause of them. The Pit Bull is the number one dog attacker in human in US, with around 3,400 attacks that resulted in 295 deaths. This number at first glance. You know something? That's not accurate, my friend. Pit Bull is the most dog breed that are aggressive created. Mind you that creating aggression is different from training. Dogs can be trained as a specific behavior that make them capable of protection, chasing criminals, and addiction of drugs. In malls and airports, here dogs were trained and become strong without being violent. But creating aggression is based on abusing the dogs, from hitting, isolation, and detention. This result scared and pressured the dogs, they being more dangerous with his owner. And the Pit Bull with the most dog breed get aggressive created and bit enduring dog wrestling, a dog with the worst reputation, so it stayed in shelters more than other breeds. This affected its emotional state and behavior. It's reasonable what that happened to him. Because of this isolation makes it even more aggressive. And when everyone talks about Pit Bull, statistics of Pit Bull attacks increase. And add this to your knowledge, the small dogs are more aggressive. Anyway, the chances of small dogs biting is way higher than the bigger dogs. They are somewhat insecure, but their damage is minimal, so people overlook it, and reporting their attacks decreases or almost vanishes. No one talks about him. Just like guns and shotgun, you know that they kill more than nuclear bombs, but we will remember the nuclear bomb more because it's more huge. And if you know a pet dog, your friend is maybe, my advice to is approach it carefully in the presence and the permission of its owner. Keep your hands by your side and let it explore you first, and get to know your skin. When you reach out your hand, keep it to its chin under its jaw. Don't pat its head, you are not its mother. Don't approach it in the following states: if its owner is absent, or you are approaching the area it's protecting, or if it's eating or playing. And if it's a street dog, better not approach it at all. No run next to it. But if the dog attacked you, I will give you a piece of advice: don't ever run, because you will be provoking the dog's chasing instinct. If you ran, it will know that it's stronger and will run after you. And believe me, it's tough to beat the dog in running. Most dogs are faster than us. Plus, when you run, you are feeding the dog's feeling of control. It doesn't just smell your fear, it sees it. And if it saw it, it will feel like controlling you, which increases the chances of attacking you. So try to stand still and not to look into his eyes. Pretend like you not care about it, so you don't pose any danger to it. And tell it in a deep or drunk voice, no! And if you have something in your hand, throw it. Maybe it will run after it. Remember, it has a 2-year-old boy. But if after all these advices, the dog got you and decided to jump at you, you have two options: to try to put something in the middle, a bag or anything, or to take a fetus position on the ground to protect your face and neck. Most importantly, to be silent and have your hand in a fist, because fingers are easy to be bitten. But the second option is to fight back, dog to dog. And remember that its nose and the back of its head are weakness point. Avoid its teeth too. And I hope you remember all this advice, because if a dog attacked me, I will run. If you were bitten, you need to wash it with soap and water. And if it's a trusted vaccinated pet dog, then being isolated by his owner 14 days would be enough. But if you think it's a stray dog that bite you and ran, then consider it has rabies, just in case, and going to the hospital. That's all, my friend. You are now ready to go. And don't forget to watch the last episode and the new ones, and like the video and subscribe the channel. Goodbye.